Call regular city council meeting Wednesday, September 18th, 2013 to order. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Alderman Putoff.
Here.
Ferrari.
Here.
Waldorf.
Here.
Lukosius.
Here.
Perez.
Here.
Radke.
Here.
Mueller.
Here.
Sapienza.
Here.
Mayor Harrell.
Here. Pledge of allegiance. Any presentation?
No, Your Honor.
Public comment?
No, Your Honor.
We have a motion to receive the regular meeting minutes of September 9th, 2013 and place on file.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Alderman Radke, second by Alderman Putoff to receive the regular meeting minutes of September 9th, 2013, place on file. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. We'll move on to committees. Accounts and Finance, Alderman Putoff, Alderman Radke.
Just a few items from Finance Committee. First area is the motel tax is up about 5% over the course of the year. Typically, when you see the hotel tax go up, you also see the sales tax correspond with that. So that is a good trend for the city of Peru. We also reviewed with Bob Vickery the economic website, the numbers of hits that it has, and the feedback it's given. One of the unique tools that the website has to it is you can now track who put the hits or who brought the hits to it. Meaning if there's an interested customer, you'll find out if he was looking on the City of Peru's economic website, and that will give us an avenue to follow up with correspondence. So that's a nice tool to have, and certainly it has been getting a lot of positive hits. Last week we talked a little bit about the positive bond rating, and I think really our next goal is to work on the reserve funds, and what we want to try to accomplish in the next couple of years is to have building reserves in the general fund that will take care of 3-6 months of expenses, and certainly that helps to the financial stability of our city. We also received a presentation today. We talked about last week on using some paperless formats. And we had a nice presentation on how the cloud system works, the different options we have as far as paperless is going. One of the unique things about it is it will certainly cut down on the time that the office has to copy, the mailing that you have to do, all of those things. But I think one of the most important things is it will give the general public and instant feedback on everything that goes out to the city council. So if you do have residents who are concerned or want to know what's going on, you have the availability to get the same information that we would from a city council standpoint. We're still working on it, and what we will have is in the next couple weeks, we'll bring some options to the city council to see what you feel comfortable with, if it's a tablet format, if it's a laptop format, or something that we can use handily. We'll have some options for that. Is there any questions regarding any of those items or the paperless format that we're looking at? Okay, Alderman Radke, anything else?
I have nothing.
Okay. That's all we had, Your Honor.
Okay, Public Works, Alderman Waldorf, Alderman Lukosius.
Yes, Your Honor. The only thing I have tonight is just a follow-up on the fly-in breakfast at the airport last Sunday. It was a huge success despite the inclement weather. Fed about 1,100 people, and once again, the Illinois Valley Flying Club and Chuck Studer should be commended for the efforts that they went through for another successful event.
Next, Your Honor, there's a motion here to approve the purchase of a 2001 3-ton dump truck not to exceed $37,000. Before I make that motion, that is the committee's recommendation, but it's open for discussion. The dump truck that we have has been inspected by our city mechanic, Joe Kramer, and he's decided it's not roadworthy. So we're short a dump truck. There is, I believe, about $80,000 budgeted. for new equipment in Public Works because we're trying to rotate out the old vehicles, and some of them are very old. So this, this is something that our engineer, Sean Mikas, found. We did have one other one on the line, and it was sold out from under us. So now we've got this one up, and again, it is our committee recommendation that we go ahead and buy this, as the other one is not roadworthy. And I'll just open that, if anybody's got any comments or discussion, open that up to whoever.
You say that's a 2001?
It is.
Oh, does that come with a warranty?
Sean? No? Spud looked at it though, right? Spud went over it? And
Yes, Spud gave it a thorough work through, found a couple little minor things. 2001's only got about a little over 38,000 miles on it, so it hasn't been greatly used, but it's in pretty good condition. So
What's a new one cost?
I'd have to go back and look, honest with you. I don't know off the top of my head.
What's the lifespan of this one, do you believe it will be?
8 to 10 years easy.
Oh, 8 to 10 more years?
Yeah, we could probably get another. It'll all depend on the abuse we put on it as we put through it. As everybody knows, we go, put some
Now, this isn't the one replacing the tandem, right? This is a 3-tonner?
Correct. The tandem will be something separate that we'll start talking about next week probably.
The truck we're replacing is a 1985 truck or 89 truck or something like this?
Yeah, it's somewhere in there. I'd have to go back and look at the exact. I think 89 is sticking out in my head. So a lot of our trucks are in that age range right now. So
We have any idea at all what a new truck would cost? Any guesstimate? Just guesstimate?
if I had to guess, it'd be close to $100,000, maybe 90,000. I'm completely guessing though. I'd have to go back and look and ask some people. I know a tandem would be somewhere in the range of 150,000, so 140,000.
I don't think you could do it for less than 100,000. From
would
some of
agree.
the figures we had previously,
I would agree with that. It all depends on the chassis and stuff that we put on it as well, so.
Your Honor, you've been in the business. How does that fare off?
I'll go with what our mechanic Joe Kramer said, and he said it's a pretty good truck. I would rather buy a newer one. The trouble is we couldn't find a newer one. Nobody wants to get rid of them much newer than that, and you can't buy a brand new one because you wouldn't have it for service for this winter.
Yeah, that's one of the big sticking points right now is if we were to go buy a new one, we probably wouldn't have it until, let's say, March, April, so it'll be after our season as we know it anyway, so.
So we did a fair amount of shopping around and all that, correct?
Yes, we did.
Good. Okay, thank you.
I will make a motion to approve purchase of a 2001 3-ton dump truck, not to exceed $37,000.
I'll second that motion.
Have a motion by Alderman Waldorf, second by Alderman Lukosius to approve purchase of a 2001 3-ton dump truck not to exceed $37,000.
Did we have an exact amount, Sean? I thought you said it was 36.2. You might as well make the motion for the exact amount.
That's correct. That's the figure I got today was 36.2.
I'll amend my motion to change the number 37,000 to 36,200.
And I'll second that.
Okay, with the amendment, the approved purchase of 2001 3-ton dump truck not to exceed $36,200. Is there any further discussion? Have a roll call vote. Clerk call roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Perez.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza.
Motion approved.
The next motion on the agenda will be tabled. We'll table that for more discussion at committee. With that, I will announce that there will be a Public Works Committee meeting this Monday, September 23rd, at 10:30. That's a little bit later. My daughter's getting braces, so I'm going to have to be at the orthodontist. Yeah, that's no kidding. $5,000. So we'll be meeting at 9:23 Monday at 10:30. The last thing, Your Honor, I have a couple of things from the Public Works Superintendent / City Engineer Sean Mikas. Flushing of the city of Peru distribution system will begin on Sunday, September 22nd, 2013, between the hours of 6 p.m. and 2 a.m. and will continue daily through Friday, September 27th. So the residents may experience discolored water and low water pressure during this program. It is a necessary thing. And lastly, We are looking at more smoke testing to look for a smoking gun, so to speak, up in the northeast part of town. We're not sure what street to street the section will be, and there'll be another announcement, but look forward to more smoke testing. And that's all from Public Works, Your Honor.
Okay, Public Health and Safety, Alderman Ferrari, Alderman Sapienza.
I have nothing. You have anything, Alderman Sapp?
I have nothing, Your Honor.
Public
Chiefs? No, Your Honor, we're done.
Public Property, Alderman Perez, Alderman Mueller.
Your Honor, I have no report at this time. Alderman Mueller?
Nothing at this time, Your Honor.
Okay, reports to City Attorney, ordinances, resolutions.
Yes, there was a joint hearing before the Plan Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals on the petition of Adam and Angela Bonds concerning property at 2129 6th Street in Peru. All of you have copies of those minutes. What they did is seek a variance for a fence and approval of home occupation as a daycare for that property. Mrs. Bonds, after being first duly sworn, stated she desires to operate a daycare center from the premises. She is licensed by the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services to care for 8 total children under age 12. She stated she operated a daycare center in LaSalle for 12 years. She presently cares for 5 children and has 3 of her own. In response to questioning pursuant to Section 6.04C of the zoning ordinance, she stated her daycare operation is incidental and secondary use of her residence for the family and 3 children. There are no signs. There are no commodities sold. She's the only person involved in the daycare. All activity is conducted from her residence. There's no structural alterations needed. No unusual noise other than children playing, and there's no activity between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m., which are the requirements for a home occupation use. In response to questioning from members Atkinson and Harrington, she stated that she presently only cares for 2 families, with one mother dropping her child off at 7 a.m. and the other at 11 a.m. One family picks up at 4:30 and the other at 5 o'clock. She just operates presently Monday through Thursday, but her license would allow her to operate Monday through Friday. She's had no complaints from the neighbors. In fact, they have requested that she also watch their kids from time to time. No signage. The area of the north with the playground is where the fence will be. A site plan was introduced into evidence. The north and east property lines would have a 6-foot privacy fence, and on the south and west there would be a picket fence with spacing and height of 42 inches. The stated setback abutting a street is 25 feet, but the subject premise on a lot of 60 feet wide. The lot line is approximately 30 feet from the center of the road, and the fence will only be about 1 foot from the porch on the west side. But that is still approximately 9 to 10 feet inside the existing sidewalk. Zoning officer stated there would be no traffic visibility problems. No objectors were present at the hearing. It was unanimously approved as a home occupation by the Plan Commission, unanimously approved variance for the fence by the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay, do we have a motion to receive the minutes, place on file, and concur with recommendation?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second, Your Honor.
Alderman, have a motion by Alderman Waldorf, second by Alderman Lukosius to receive the minutes, place on file, and concur with recommendation. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
And we have granting the home occupation use be ordained premises known as Lot 6 and Block 163 in Bruce's addition to Ninawan, City of Peru, which is property at 2129 6th Street. It's granted a home occupation use under Section 6.04A2 of the zoning ordinance to allow a home daycare from the premises, which comply with all requirements of zoning ordinance for home occupation use and should be licensed by Illinois Department of Health Care and Family Services.
Do we have a motion to approve the ordinance as written and read?
So moved, Your Honor.
I'll second it.
Have a motion by Alderman Waldorf, second by Alderman Sapienza to approve the ordinance as written and read. Is there any discussion? Have a roll call vote, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Perez.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza.
Motion approved.
You have ordinance granting the variance for the fence, be it ordained, the property is granted a variance to reduce the west side yard setback for a fence from not less than 25 feet and is restricted under the zoning ordinance to 0 feet.
Do we have a motion to approve this ordinance as written and read?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second that, Your Honor. I have a motion by Alderman Waldorf, second by Alderman Sapienza to approve the ordinance as written and read. Is there any discussion? Have a roll call vote, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Perez.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza.
Motion approved.
You have an ordinance annexing the 1.65 acre parcel of real estate where there'll be the new Casey's store. Be it ordained the territory being indicated in an accurate map of the territory attached here to and incorporated herein is hereby annexed to the City of Peru, LaSalle County, Illinois. City clerk is hereby authorized and directed to record with the recorder of deeds and file with county clerk and county election authority a certified copy of this ordinance together with an accurate map of the territory attached here to ordinance shall be effective immediately from and after its passage and approval. And that is where the new Casey store will be on that 1.695 acre parcel.
I'll make a motion, Your Honor, that the ordinance be adopted as written and read.
I'll second that, Your Honor.
Have a motion by Alderman Putoff, second by Alderman Lukosius to approve the ordinance as written and read. Is there any discussion? Have a roll call vote, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius. Perez.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza.
Motion approved.
And you have an ordinance granting administrative variances for the property of Greg Block located at 1610 11th Street. Be it ordained, that property which is Lot 2 in Block 193 in Brewster's Edition. It's granted the following variances. Minimum distance for a detached garage from the principal building is reduced to not less than 10 feet to 4 feet. And the minimum distance for a detached garage is reduced from 5 feet to 2 feet. And this is administrative variance approved by the zoning officer, chairman of the zoning board of appeals, and both aldermen of the ward in which the property is located. Actually, the old garage was going to be raised, correct? And that one is on the line, and this one will be 2 feet off the line.
Do we have a motion to approve the ordinance as written and read?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Have a motion by Alderman Perez, second by Alderman Radke to approve the ordinance as written and read. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, clerk call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Perez.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza.
Motion approved.
You have an ordinance approving and ratifying an equipment co-location agreement by and between the city and Illinois Fiber Resources Group, not-for-profit, DBAI Fiber. They're going to locate, all it is really a panel inside the fiber house at the Water Street substation. And be it ordained, City Council finds its facts recitals. The mayor form of the city is hereby authorized to execute a master core equipment location agreement by and between the city and iFiber. The execution of any documents by the mayor in connection herewith are hereby ratified and affirmed. Ordinance should be effective immediately. That's all they do. We'll have that panel on the wall, so it's a relatively innocuous thing, but the agreement goes for 20 years. The city gets a lump sum payment up front of $36,000. And if they need access, they have to pay our personnel at a rate of $90 an hour with a 2-hour minimum, if it's off hours. And that increases by CPI during the course of the agreement.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion that this co-location agreement be okayed.
Second, Your Honor.
Have a motion by Alderman Lukosius, second by Alderman Waldorf to approve the ordinance is written in red. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I just have one thing, Doug, that building is located where we get a lot of water in the city, barricade that off from water, is there any liability if we do not?
Well, I mean,
would
that's
say
why this
on
has
our
been
end.
taking so long. I took out mutual indemnity agreements, so I don't get into contractual indemnity issues, and it has a force majeure exception. Force majeure exception, let me read it to you so you know, because that was, I mean, that point's well taken, because that was not in the original agreement, and I was troubled by that since it is in, anyway. And that is found, you know, we're maintaining the facility. Obviously, we have to maintain it for our own facilities that are in there. And we'll do a prescribed maintenance, provided, however, that the duty to maintain shall be subject to the force majeure exclusions described in section 12.11, and that's the normal force majeure.
Thank you.
So that would be, you know, acts of God would be the common terminology for it.
Okay, is there any further questions? Motion made by Alderman LaCosta, second by Alderman Waldorf, to accept the ordinance as written and read. If there's no further discussion, we'll have a roll call vote. Clerk, call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf. Lukosius.
Aye.
Perez.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza.
Motion approved.
Just to expand on that, I'll read the actual language. It would be acts of God, acts of governments, war, riots, strikes, accidents in transportation, or other causes beyond the reasonable control of the city.
Yeah. For sure.
Anything further from attorney?
No, Your Honor.
Unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business?
I only have one thing, Your Honor, backing up to the smoke testing. I have had a few residents call me asking about what's been done since April, and I know that in April we had generated a long report of all the areas where we had sewer clogging, sewer in leakage, and all those types of things. And we generated more action items. Is there a way I could get my hands on all those action items and which ones are closed and which ones are still open, or can we start generating that? Because I do have residents asking for that.
I'll have to find it for you, I guess. That's something.
I think Mike Perry will have that
Mike?
information.
Okay.
And,
I
you know, I think he was in about everybody's basement up there.
Yeah.
And, I know we went through with Michelini and had a lot of the sewer jetting done, and that's gotta be available.
Yeah, there's
So-
been an enormous amount of work done, but I think it'd be
Yeah.
nice to have that in hand, that we can point at all the actions, all the ones that are complete.
Yeah,
and
I think
still
that's-
open. We still have some warm weather here that we could attack if there's still things that have slipped through the cracks.
Yeah, and last I talked to him, I thought they took care of everything
I
that
think
was
you're
on
right.
that
I
list.
think you're right,
so,
But
too.
we can get that list, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be a
Thank you.
The follow-up will be on the agenda for Public Works meeting on Monday.
To follow up on what Mike was asking, Sean, with the rain that we had today, did the flow meters indicate that everything was smooth?
Yeah, I didn't hear or see anything. I popped some manholes this afternoon, just to check on things, and,
They were all low?
well, flowing, I mean, it wasn't significantly higher than the pipe or anything, but they were, half pipe or whatever you wanna call it through the structure. It wasn't anything that we saw in that last rain event that we had a month or so ago, so.
Okay, thank you.
Unfinished business. We have any unfinished business? New business. Any new business?
Yes, Your Honor, I have one thing, if I could, please.
Alderman Perez?
Just like anyone else up here, I'm all for making a smaller world for these drug dealers and manufacturers and distributors. throughout our community. And our police department's been doing a fine job with the task force and our drug enforcement throughout, actually, our entire community, Illinois Valley. And I was hoping, since the drug raid of our smoke shop last week, a week and a half ago or so, that we'd be able to do something to shut them down. That the manufacturing of synthetic drugs is something that legislators do on a regular basis to try to take the ingredients that's in those synthetics, but the manufacturers are so creative that they put new stuff in it. And in fact, I'll be returning this back to you this evening. But I had, with Operation Promise, we've been educating this year on synthetic marijuana. And as you can see, the type of packaging that it comes in, a lot of parents aren't even familiar that you can buy this stuff over the counter, and it's people are smoking it. And it's basically incense, and I'm sure Chief Burnaby can give you some more details on it, but this stuff is worse than marijuana. It messes with people's brains. I mean, it drives people crazy. And as you can tell with me, I'm just kidding. But I was able to get this from the police department and use it for part of our filming, which we'll be going back to them this evening. And this stuff here actually doesn't have the ingredient that's illegal. And that's the thing. This stuff here you can actually purchase over the counter. This isn't the illegal. This isn't the illegal synthetic, but there's a lot of it out there, and that's what they're selling. And this stuff will do just as much damage than the other stuff would.
This is called darkness.
Yeah.
That's a pretty aggressive picture on there. I don't think I'd want.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that we could do something ASAP, like Spring Valley recently has, and try to get this smoke shop shut down. We don't need their tax revenue in our city, and they're bad news, and I'd like to see what we could do. Any retailer that tries to sell this stuff over the counter should be next.
But, Rodney, you're saying that those packets are still legal and they're able
Yes.
to sell that?
Yes. The ingredient that's in this isn't illegal, but it does just as much damage to you than the regular stuff. Correct, Chief?
Well, correct. And the synthetic marijuana is, if in fact has certain control substances in it, can be a controlled substance under the Controlled Substance Act, the federal Controlled Substance Act, and then what the states passed. When synthetic marijuana, bath salts, those type of things first became popular, there's a massive worldwide industry to create these types of synthetic fake drugs, not for human consumption, it says on that. They're manufactured, they're sold all across the United States. There's chemicals in them. Alderman Perez is correct. It makes people crazy, do things they normally wouldn't do. It is as dangerous as heroin, if not more dangerous than heroin. With that said, Illinois and every other state had to play catch up and identify what these crazy, weird, unknown chemicals were. Once they identified them, then they made them illegal, controlled substances. The manufacturers, on a worldwide scheme, then came up with new chemicals to make them illegal. So the legislature, unfortunately, is playing a lot of catch-up, our state and every other state. I can't go into, obviously, specifics about the current investigation other than what is public information, other than to say that a lot of these chemicals were coming back from state labs, not as a controlled substance, or they did not have the pharmaceutical experts, and I don't even know what the correct term is, chemists that could identify whether they're a legal chemist or a legal controlled substance or not. We located, there's like 3 in the country that we know of, we located an expert, and when I say we, that's us in Spring Valley Police Department and Brian Town's office, and located a chemist that is testifying that the products that we obtained through our investigation is in fact a controlled substance, and led us to the search warrant in both towns and the rest. Now with that, to answer Alderman Perez's question, I've been consulting with the city attorney and other possibilities about what action, if any, we can take when we have a situation like that. And I think it's a legal question, and I think we're certainly on the same page, but I think the city attorney can explain why we can't close our shop at this point.
Well, one, I'm certainly no constitutional law expert, but almost 40 years ago, I worked just doing constitutional law issues for the University Council at the University of Illinois. And that involved a lot of constitutional research. But the issue here is one of due process. And they have a licensing process for tobacco in Spring Valley, is my understanding. But the ordinance, at least the part that I saw, didn't have a opportunity for hearing and to present your case. And that exposes the municipality to potential liability.
Chief, excuse me.
Are there any other places other than the smoke shop that sell this kind of stuff? Whether it's legal or illegal?
Well, I hope there's none selling the illegal products. Obviously, we've worked long and hard on trying, and we've spent a lot of our monies, our drug monies, to make purchases, take them to the lab and get them analyzed. I can tell you, once we get a positive result, we're arresting people, so that we've done a couple of arrests. We did have a smoke shop / liquor store on Peoria Street where we did arrest for an illegal substance. It was a clerk. She was, I believe, convicted already of delivery of a controlled substance, and that business is no longer operating, sits closed. It sits with a lot of inventory in it, so we're not really sure what's going on, but as we speak, that business has been closed. But I think the city attorney's point is it's not as simple as passing an ordinance and revoking somebody's license without, as he said, with the due process. It's like with a liquor license. If somebody violates the liquor, or we allege they violate the liquor control, they're still given opportunity to come in, have a hearing in front of the liquor commissioner. They're represented by attorney. There's court reporters, and we have to prove our case. And then the liquor commissioner can suspend if he thinks it's appropriate. And correct me if I'm wrong, they even can appeal that to the state liquor commission down in Springfield.
And if they do, that becomes an automatic stay as soon as they appeal it.
It's exactly, they appeal it, it's done. Our concern is we can regulate tobacco sales, but we can't regulate them just as the smoke shop. We have to regulate every single business in the city of Peru that is involved in the retail sale of tobacco. That would be a pretty labor-intensive process, I think, for the city clerk's office if you had to regulate that. It could be done, but there's going to be a lot of man-hours to do that. And then when there's an issue, like we have now, if we do regulate those and we are alleging there's a violation, then we have to have the same evidence proved in front of some type of a hearing officer, which I don't even know how we would establish that, but I suppose we could, and then allow for some type of an appeal process and do it by the book. The fear would be if we go in and close somebody up, we better be right that we've given them due process, because, you know, it's no fun getting sued in federal court. Even when you win, even when you're found that you didn't do it, it's a very, very expensive proposition, especially for the city's insurance companies. And as Doug was telling me, I didn't realize this, in federal court on certain type of things, and if you do lose, you pay the lawyer fees.
Yeah, Section 1983. I mean, it was about, I'm getting so old, 25, 30 years ago, actually, that the city of LaSalle had a case and kind of just arbitrarily, without the proper hearing even back then, closed a tavern. And they were sued in federal court by Carl Telford back then, for your old-timers. But and they had to pay up in that case. The problem with federal court cases like that is, even if damages are found to be minimal, the attorney's fees, if you get awarded attorney's fees in federal court in Chicago, you're probably the award, I think on the last one, was even a $400 an hour. I mean, you could get $1,000 in damages, but be hit with $100,000 in attorney's fees. That's not to beg your question, I understand, but you would have to have something that's uniformly applied. So you can't just say a smoke shop. I mean, you know, every gas station, every tavern, every place that sells cigarettes, you would have to have a licensing procedure. And then you would have to have a due process requirements and an opportunity to be heard before you can just arbitrarily close down somebody's business without potentially exposing yourself to liability, in my opinion.
I mean,
It is, and I understand.
Out of there, and if
there's no doubt, but apparently the gentleman that owns it, I don't know much more than I read the paper myself, but you know, he's sitting on $1 million bond with a Class 2 and Class 3 felony charges. I think the issue here is strong enforcement and utilizing the services of the state drug lab. I mean, you send that out for testing, that's going to be in the thousands.
And we are doing that. Got a great credit towards our police department.
And I totally get what the question, and I wish we could do a lot of things, believe me. But I also know if we do it, cross our T's and dot our I's. I mean, I don't want to talk specifics, but, you know, people, how come you're not doing something about something? Well, things take time, and if you do it right, you usually have the end result. And, you know, it's the last $1 million bond that I'm aware of for delivery of a controlled substance on the local level, so that should say something significantly about the case, and that's where the owner-operator is sitting in jail. The case is going to progress through the court system, and in the meantime, our special investigation unit will identify and will continue to investigate anybody that may be dealing drugs illegally. So it's not like we make one arrest and go the other way. We'll continue to do what we need to do to address that. But and I think Doug, from the way he obviously explains it, would not recommend, as much as we'd love to do what you'd like to do, we need to let the court system work its way through and, you know, not rush to do something that I think we'd look back at potentially saying, oh, we should not have done that.
You know, just to give you an idea, spending a lot of time down on Route 6 this year watering flowers, you wouldn't believe the amount of traffic that I've seen coming in and out of that place. The amount of traffic that goes in there, nobody ever comes out with a bag. They're always empty-handed, so it's going in their pocket. So that's the only thing they've got to be buying in there. So there's a lot of traffic and a lot of that stuff going in and out. So thank you, and hopefully we can do something soon.
Well, you can certainly do surveillance, because that's in all plain view. And if nothing else, I think it would scare people from going in, especially kids, if they know they were being, you know, cameraed or whatever.
I have nothing further, thank you.
Okay, anything else in new business?
Yes, Your Honor, I was gonna ask Clerk Bartley, are we gonna have an electronics pickup before winter, or?
Yeah, we have one scheduled for November the 2nd, from
Thank you.
9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Same company that's done it before, right here in the municipal building parking lot.
Thank you.
There's a flyer on the website right now,
The paint pickup at West Plaza.
and that's this Saturday. Hazardous waste, which is sponsored, I think, by the Illinois EPA, but it's going to be held at the Karis Chemical headquarters parking lot, and they'll take a various amount of different household waste, paint thinner, used motor oil, gasoline, oil-based paints, and some other more odd cell phones. There's a pretty big list, and we have a flyer for that on the website as well.
Any other new business?
Your Honor, I did have one thing I did forget real briefly. For those of you that are in the Facebook era, Alderman Waldorf, you know what Facebook is, right? Yeah, sorry, you looked at me. The Peru Police Department now has a Facebook page. We're pushing 500 likes here in, over a couple of days. If you are on Facebook or you are on the internet, you might want to do that, because we're going to start putting out some information and for the citizens through that avenue too, when we're looking for things, or if there's, you know, if there's neighborhoods that are having certain types of problems, and it's kind of another way to reach out to people. So we just created that last week.
One last thing. The video for the last meeting, I've been being questioned on, how come that's not up yet? Is there something with that?
There is something with that, and the Connecting Point is working on, actually, the last two meetings have failed. When I spoke with them this morning, they'd recovered the video from both, but hadn't recovered the audio from both, and are coming up with, they're a little bit frustrated on their end as well, because they sold us the equipment that isn't working properly or has been pretty inconsistent. So hopefully we'll have a detailed report. That's my plan when we get it sorted out, so that we have a consistent product and not what we have right now.
Okay, we have a proclamation, Illinois Chapter Daughters of the American Revolution, Constitution Week 2013 Governmental Proclamation. Whereas September 17, 2013 marks the 226th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize this magnificent document in the anniversary of its creation, and whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, I, Scott J. Harrell, Mayor of the City of Peru, do hereby proclaim September 17th through 23rd, 2013 to be Constitution Week, and ask citizens of our city to reaffirm the ideals the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 and acknowledge the 226th anniversary of its signing and ratification. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the great seal of the city on this 17th day of September in the year of our Lord, 2013, and independence of the United States of America, the 26th anniversary. Do we have a, what? Well, I know, I'm reading it from here. It's the 17th through the 18th. So do we have a motion to accept to receive the proclamation placed on file?
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Alderman Radke, second by Alderman Waldorf to receive the proclamation placed on file and declare September 17th through 23rd, 2013 to be Constitution Week. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Anything further?
No further communications, Your Honor.
Okay, public comment. Do we have any public comment? Any public comment at this time? Nobody? No public comment? Okay. We need to go into a closed session for a variety of things. One of them would be the meetings where the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body is considered, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired, meetings where setting of the price for sale or lease of real estate owned by the public body is being considered. Number 4, meetings held to discuss litigation when an action against, affecting or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting. And number 5, meetings held to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee or legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. So do we have a motion to retire from open session into closed session?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion by Alderman Putoff, second by Alderman Radke to retire from open meeting into closed session. Is there any discussion? Have a roll call vote. Clerk call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf. Lukosius. Perez.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza.
Motion approved.